name is Jim Kaper. I sing in the bass section, bass 2. I've been singing with the Baltimore Choral Arts, I think since about 2010, 2011. I sing in the symphonic chorus.
Hi, I'm Carla Finkelstein. I sing soprano, although when I started in choral arts in 1991, I was at that time an alto. So many things have changed over these last 30-some years.
I'm Priya Sekar. I sing mezzo-soprano, and I've been with the Choral Arts Society since 2012, so 8 years.
So I had the amazing good fortune to start singing in a children's chorus when I was very, very young. I think maybe 5 years old. At that time, many people in this area remember the legendary figure of Betty Bertaux, who in the mid-70s was just starting a brand new children's chorus in Maryland. And I was lucky enough to be in one of the first groups of children who was invited to sort of audition and try out for that group, along with a number of my friends and neighbors, all of whom had parents with musical connections, I think, to start. So that was an extremely important early formative experience for me in terms of the joy and power of singing a group that not only was fun, but also had really high standards. And so I was hooked from the start.
So music has been basically a part of my soul, if you will, since before I can remember. So I'm a first generation Indian American, and the first music I was really exposed to was East Indian music, which really it's very distinct and different from Western classical music. But it was, I have a strong tradition of East Indian classical music in my family. My grandmother was both a singer and a violinist, and she had lots of private students. My mom always says it skipped a generation because my parents are both tone deaf. But anyway, it really, I really enjoyed music from before I could remember. And then when I started even going back to kindergarten, I remember my music teacher playing the piano and then being able to sing with other kids. Part of it is really, I grew up in a very small town in Indiana, one of the only non-white kids in my school. And it was a way of actually, being part of a group, as someone who knew that I was different but didn't really want to be different. It was really a way to join my voice together with other people and really feel like part of a larger whole, as opposed to feeling different.
I've sung most of my life in choruses, from elementary school to high school and college. And particularly, my experience with a big symphonic chorus starts, that was at the University of Maryland as an undergraduate. To me, we were sort of the house chorus for the Kennedy Center and the National Symphony. And we actually sang in the very first concert at the Kennedy Center. We sang Haydn's Creation, which opened up the Kennedy Center after the Bernstein Mass performance. And so I've just had these years of experience in singing for many years at the Kennedy Center, and then I sang with the Baltimore Symphony Chorus for many years until that was disbanded. And I just love being part of this huge sound, just blending in with other people. I'm not a fan of solo singing. I don't like to hear myself sing particularly then, but I can sing on pitch. I can sing with good rhythm, good diction, and I blend in well. I just love being part of that huge sound.
When I was 7 years old, I basically asked my mother if I could play the piano. She didn't really know what the piano was, but she said fine. And so the piano is my instrument. But then, so I'm a physician, and part of becoming a pediatric cardiologist, which is what I do, involves basically picking up and moving every 3 to 4 years since I was 14 years old. And you can't really pick up a piano every 3 to 4 years. So, I think I always loved the voice. I was our high school choir accompanist and got a lot of joy out of that, but definitely loved singing for the reasons I already mentioned from elementary school. I think so. Every place I've lived, I've always made it a point to find a community choir because my job demands a lot out of me, and being able to come together with people of such diverse backgrounds and amazing talents, being able to sing with the Choral Arts Society with people of such caliber and talent is such a privilege, and it's also just really nice to get out of my own head and to make music, create with other people, as opposed to I'm in the business of diagnosis and treatment. It's just nice to have a product that I can create with other people. I don't know, maybe that's a little cheesy, but that's my answer.
Well, the inspiration I find in choral singing is being with all these other people, both the singers and particularly the instrumentalists, and that group together then, and having that experience, that shared experience of putting something together that's just magnificent. It's something that's been done many, many times by so many people over the years, but each time it's just fresh and just a great experience to be collectively, as a community, putting together this wonderful work of art.
As a child, I didn't participate in team sports. I also didn't participate really very much in organized religion. My family was not a part of a congregation. So really, the way that I had to be a part of a group in coming together was more than one could ever do alone. Being a part of a collective, working towards a common goal, and particularly a common goal of musical beauty, was something that's always been really, really meaningful to me. And in fact, this may sound a little corny, but really, because I didn't grow up with a religious background, I feel like that's the closest I will ever get to an understanding of what it means to be spiritual, is what it feels like when we're making music together and have those magical moments when the rest of the world fades away and all we can do is think about this glorious music that we're making together. And that's just a feeling that, I want to have as much as possible. So that is why I sing.
Yes, I've been fortunate to have a lot of great experiences. In the mid '70s, I was still singing with the University of Maryland Chorus. We were invited to perform in London with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and we performed at the Festival Hall. We sang the Beethoven Ninth Symphony and the Brahms Schicksalslieder and a Bach cantata, and that was a wonderful experience. My first time I was ever in Europe. That was a tremendous experience. Other experiences, also with the University of Maryland Chorus, was with we performed the Beethoven Ninth Symphony at Wolf Trap when we performed behind the Beaux-Arts Ballet of Europe, of Belgium, and they danced the whole Beethoven Ninth Symphony. It was choreographed, and Wolf Trap is a very deep stage, and so the foreground of the stage was given over to the ballet, and the chorus and the orchestra were in the back in the darkness. And just before we were to sing, we had these dark robes on, and underneath we had blazing gold, yellow vestments on. And just before we sang, they flashed on the lights in, and we threw off our robes in, and it was this big visual burst, and we started singing then. And it was just a great experience for that.
I mean, I love singing Bach. I find it very powerful and moving. It sits well in the voice also, and just I have a special feeling and affinity for that. So when we've done the B minor mass of maybe 3 times since I've been in choral arts, and those have been very special times for me.
There's some pieces that a lot of people might roll their eyes at because they've sung it so many times. But there's a lot of pieces, like some of the great grand oratorios, which I've always wanted to sing, and I just haven't. And Beethoven 9, actually, even though now I've sung it, I think at least 6 or 7 times, the first time I sung it, it was just amazing. I mean, it was, and it was one time, I can't even remember. There's unfortunately been so many times of strife in Baltimore City's history. But I remember Tom Hall giving, as he did frequently, kind of putting the music into the context of when we were singing it. And it was a time of unrest in our city, and talking about, all of us brothers and sisters coming together in friendship. It was just, I just remember singing really from my heart, and just really, it just meant a lot, that moment singing at the Meyerhof. I believe that's what that was.
At least 20 years ago, we were invited, Choral Arts was invited to do a run of Messiah at the Kennedy Center. Camaraderie of the bus rides down and back every night was so enjoyable. But one of the other things that I remember about those performances is that Janice Chandler, then Chandler, was the soprano soloist. And she, has just an unbelievable voice, especially for something like Handel. And so we would just, hang on her every sound every night. And the last performance of 4 or 5 performances was a Sunday matinee. And I don't even remember which aria it was, but in one of the arias, which was a duet, she started adding these unbelievable embellishments to everything. And then whoever was the duet partner with her started and they were just one-upping each other back and forth. And the audience just had no idea really how remarkable that was and how entertained we were after having done this piece for so many nights.
Another great experience I had was the first time I sang the Mahler 8th Symphony was with the Baltimore Symphony when they were, I think, 1990 or 91, when they celebrated their 75th anniversary. And we sang with the University of Maryland Chorus that time. I was with the Baltimore Symphony Chorus and Morgan State Choir. I think they had all these choruses at the Meyerhof. Everybody had been rehearsing separately, the orchestra and the 8 soloists and the choruses. And then the first time we all came together, David Zinman was the conductor, and he just ran it straight through, no stopping. We just blasted it right through the first time. And at the end, everybody just burst into applause, which I've never seen before or since, because usually the chorus is too intimidated to burst into applause in front of the orchestra. The chorus, the orchestra would be too cool to be bursting into applause like that. But I just felt this just great experience.
And then actually the most recent one was with you, Blake. You don't know this, but it's been a very challenging 2 years for me personally, as I've lost both of my parents unexpectedly, and I have never been inside the basilica. Never been inside. I love historic buildings. I love history in general. And I had no expectation of being able to sing with the full chorus. I knew that it would be a privilege, and I knew that there wasn't enough space for everybody who would want to sing. And this was going to be my first Christmas, even though I'm not Christian. This was going to be my first Christmas without my parents. And I was actually scheduled to be on call over Christmas. It was just going to be a really, really hard time. And being able to sing with all of you in my family after I feel like I really have lost my family. But being able to sing with all of you, there were moments with tears just streaming down my face in that beautiful, beautiful basilica singing. And now even reflecting at this time with COVID, where we really can't even be together, just knowing that I have this group, it just means so much to me. So I wanted to make sure that you and everyone else knows how lucky we are.